This is kratom. More than 1.7 million Americans use the plant extract. The National Institute of Drug Abuse says kratom commonly refers to a herbal substance that can produce opioid and stimulant-like effects. The products are currently legal and accessible in many areas throughout the United States. But now many have concerns about the drug's use and availability. Industry leaders are calling on for the FDA to regulate this product. Meanwhile, some areas of Missouri are already giving the drug a closer look. Missouri Capitol Bureau Chief Joe McClain explains from Jefferson City.
Kratom is an extract from a plant called Mitragina speciosa. It's from Southeast Asia and is technically a relative of the coffee plant. It has what's called mitragynine in it, which in lower doses is meant to combat fatigue and increase focus. In higher doses, doctors say the drug can act like a narcotic, activating the same receptors that opioids do. In fact, one of its common uses is to alleviate opioid withdrawal. There is a risk, though, of serious side effects, including liver toxicity, seizures, and breathing problems, and it can also be habit-forming.
The failure of the FDA today is they refuse to regulate kratom. And that's the problem.
Mac Hadow is a public policy fellow with the American Kratom Association. This week, the group issued a consumer advisory against companies that don't follow its standards after a Florida woman died as a result of taking a product that doesn't follow them. A judge said the company was to blame and awarded $11 million to the woman's family. This is why Hadow said the FDA needs to impose regulations on kratom products now.
Kratom is a safe product if it's used responsibly and manufactured properly and labeled appropriately. People need to know exactly how to use the product as it's formulated in order to achieve the benefits that it provides.
Missouri lawmakers proposed a bill last session to regulate kratom statewide, but the bill didn't make it through the process in time. Meanwhile, St. Charles County has been regulating kratom since 2019, requiring sellers to register, placing limits on the product potency, and subjecting all new products to review. 6 states have banned kratom entirely, while 4 have statewide regulations in place. In Jefferson City, Joe McClain, News 4.
And the Missouri legislature actually passed kratom regulations back in 2022, but they were vetoed by Governor Parson. He explained that version of law defines kratom as a food product, which would be a violation of federal law.